Today we'll be studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the June 25th, 1884, that account. Before that, as usual, let us chant this mantra. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam gobi bhiriritam kalmashapaham Sravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhubi Grinanti E Bhuridajanaha. Sri Ramakrishna had the habit of visiting some of the really spiritual people, educated people of those days in that locality. Why? For two things, I feel. That is to go to see whether that person has advanced in spirituality or not. And second, to help him, if he is not, to help him and to guide him to make progress in spirituality. Sri Ramakrishna, the speciality that we see is only the realization, only the effort to realize God, no other things. The intellectual and this literary and all those things, he never paid any importance in those things. It is okay. But because the human life is short, we do not know when we will die. And we do not know whether in our next birth we will get the human life or not. And also we do not know, even if we get the human life, whether we will get this type of opportunities or not. The few of us who are trying to understand, to realize the God, just trying, maybe curious, that much, even then, is a very small group among so vast the human population. And this small group who are interested to realize God, to know God, to go beyond the circle of birth and death, trying to understand this very difficult thing, the Maya, and the world with everything but temporary, these type of things that they are trying to understand, for them God is coming to protect them and to guide them, to help them. So Sri Ramakrishna, the God himself in this modern age, he came and he practiced all those. What did he practice? Today morning I was talking with another person who is trying to realize God, spiritual practicing. So see, right from the beginning, as because we are studying every Sunday the Bhagavatam, when the Brahma, he is creating his mind-born son, he is just creating something. And immediately after the creation, they said, "Thank you, sir. Now I am going to go back to the source." They are not interested at all in this world. Why? The mind was tuned with that. Then slowly Brahma increased the ego. And that ego separated us from God. And then we started thinking all these things in the world that we can enjoy only with the five senses, only the five objects, and we are so full of it. I do not care about God also. Recently I was reading a book, and there the one Swami, he was sitting, and one person came and told, "Sir, you are a great renouncer." Then he said, "What have I renounced? I have only renounced these temporary things. But you have renounced the permanent thing, that is God, for the temporary." So that is a great. So in a sarcastical way, he was telling, but we have to understand this is temporary. For that, the training is necessary. So the understanding is necessary. And the beginning of the journey begins with the good guide. And here we find Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. And very simple person, never ever quoting some difficult scriptures, never telling some difficult things to practice. Very simple, but very straightforward. And he is now, today, this June 25th, 1884, is a Wednesday. It was the Ratha Yatra day. Ratha Yatra for the Hindus is the great festival. Even in those days, in Calcutta and other, Sri Ramakrishna was in Dakshinesha. He was going to Calcutta and he found that the boys, young boys, they are playing music and all those things, enjoying. That is the Ratha Yatra. But what is the Ratha Yatra? This is also very significant. Well, Ratha means the chariot. And the God is sitting on the chariot, and either the people are dragging that or the horses are. But that is the significance, and that is the speciality of the Hindus. Everything they have made is symbolic. And this body is the chariot. And all my five senses are the horses. And the mind is the rein that is. And if the rein controlled by someone inside is not properly handling, these horses will go amok and may make the problem. So the first thing is the mind. Sri Ramakrishna has come out from his Dakshinesha temple garden house and going to Calcutta. If you can imagine that from the Himalayan cave, a wonderful thought moving towards the cities and the people who are not at all understanding that what is going to happen. I saw a picture, a sort of movie somebody was taking when the tsunami came, and when the huge water that was coming, all people were taking the picture, not understanding what danger is coming. And within a minute or so, they were nowhere. Exactly the same type of tsunami is coming in our life, but we are not aware at all. We are so happy, so many wonderful things are happening. They were all going on taking the photo because the boats are on the top of the waves, and they're very happy. We are safe. No, we are not. So that is exactly Sri Ramakrishna has come out, and he is going to meet one Pandit, and the name of the Pandit was, and that was traditionally educated person, Pandit, traditionally educated, Shashadhara Tarka Chudamani. Tarka, that this Grantha, Tarka Grantha, the debating is very, very difficult. They will go on arguing for these, very difficult. And he was the topmost of that, Chudamani. That was the certificate that he passed. So Shashadhara, he was his name, and Tarka Chudamani. And he was staying in the neighborhood where Ishan was there. Ishan was the disciple as a supporter of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna came to Ishan, and he spent 1 or 2 hours over there. Then the Pandit gave the time. Now we are constantly praying to God, please come. And now the Pandit, when the God was trying to meet him, he said, no, come after 4 o'clock. So Sri Ramakrishna, the God, he was waiting to go to him. Now he came, and along with him came the Hajra Mahashaya. Hajra also, he used to think himself as a scholar and in the scripture. So he accompanied the master, and all other Brahmin scholars also, they were present, the devotees were present. And these devotees and the scholars, they used to follow the tantric mode of worship. And Shrish, the Ishan's son, he was also present. He was a lawyer. Master noticed that the tantric worshipper had a vermilion mark on his forehead. Usually people they do. In South India, people always, in the temple itself, it will be there. So they go and mark in this. The ladies, they will take the red one, the gents will take the white, like that. And Sri Ramakrishna, jokingly he is telling, I see he is branded. That means he has already branded himself for only one path, that is Tantra. He is not ready to accept any other path. The Sri Ramakrishna is giving the hint, you should not be like that. Then we go to this, the Narendra and all others came, Narendra started singing. In those days, we always find in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna again and again, this type of group constantly following Sri Ramakrishna. Wherever Sri Ramakrishna is going, particularly whenever he is visiting Calcutta, they are there. And they like to listen to these conversations. And sometimes they will be singing. The young Narendra, who became afterwards Swami Vivekananda, he was a good singer. He was singing. The Shrish, he was just telling, Master Sri Ramakrishna was asking him, Master Moshe is recording, what is your idea about the most essential thing in life? Because he's a lawyer, he's an intelligent person. So Sri Ramakrishna is asking, what is your idea about the most essential thing in life? Srish, he's telling God exists and He alone does everything. So he was an intelligent person, he read it and he had at least he has understood it. Though not realized it properly, understood it. So he is mentioning God exists and He alone does everything. Then he is adding, but the attributes we ascribe to Him, H capital, are not the right ones. The God is powerful, God is omnipotent, God is omniscient, God is all merciful. All these attributes that we give, it is not necessary. But He is doing everything and He is there. How can a man conceive of Him? His nature is infinite. Now His knowledge, when He is speaking, His knowledge we can understand. God is infinite. And naturally we cannot understand Him because our idea is finite, the small. How can we think of God? And if we cannot think of God, how can we say that He is all merciful, all powerful? He may be many more, He may be not. Sri Ramakrishna is telling, what need is there of your counting the number of trees and branches of an orchard? See here, as I was telling, and I always feel, Sri Ramakrishna, he never wants to spend any time for many other information. Don't waste time. Straightway, because the decision has been taken, God is the only real being, permanent being. Now realize God. How will you realize God? So this morning we were discussing how to realize God. Very simple. Just withdraw your mind from the world and you realize God. The moment you withdraw the mind from the worldly things, and what are the worldly things? Only 5. From the eye we go and we see, from the smell, the information that we collect, and words that we hear, the sound that we hear, and the touch and the taste. These are the 5 things, nothing else. Maybe we can see that so many things, but actually it is all 5. Now, short-listed at this age, short-listed, only 5. We have to withdraw those 5 things. We don't like, we don't want. How to withdraw? Mind. If you stop the mind, even the eyes are going, seeing, but not registering, because the mind is not attached to it. And what is the mind? Reflection of the consciousness. So this way, back calculation, if we go towards that, we go to the source. And what is the ultimate thing? Consciousness. Where it is? Within us. how it is reflected on the mind. And what is the mind? Very subtle thing that is already there, reflected by the consciousness, and that is why all these things are happening. Now, if we understand, if we believe, I am using two words, understanding and believing. The faith and also the reasoning. If by these two, if we come and God is there, and how to reach back? Only to stop taking this. Ramakrishna is telling what need is there of your counting the number of trees and branches in an orchard. You have come to the orchard to eat mangoes. Do that and be happy. When you go to Michigan, in that our Fenville, that village, in the villages itself, I never visited, but many of our devotees, they have gone nearby. The neighbors, they have grown up the orchards. You can go, you can pluck this apples or many other things, and then pay, come back. Now, if you go on counting, oh, you are the owner, how many trees you are having, and it will be late. So you won't be able to pluck the fruits. You have gone for that purpose, pluck it, pay, and come back. So purpose is this, why unnecessarily to waste them? So this is the reason we should not waste our time by reading this book and that book. Hundreds of books are there, thousands of books are there. If we go on reading, no end. And ultimately the end will come when I will understand, oh, I have not understood anything. So this is the thing, truth is there. It is not changing. We may call it as God or Bhagavan or Allah or Jehovah, whatever it may be. Truth is there. We can reach to that truth. How? By withdrawing our mind. How to withdraw the mind? As less as possible, utilize this world. That's all. And this is the way, what need is there of your knowing the infinite qualities of God? You may discriminate for millions of years about God's attributes and still you will not know them. The master remained silent a few minutes. A Brahmin Pandit came into the room. Then again the master is telling, there is no substance whatsoever in the worldly life. He is very clearly he is mentioning, there is no substance whatsoever in the worldly life. The members of Ishan's families are good, so he has some peace here now. He is in the Ishan's family. So he is telling that they are good, the wife, the children. So Ishan, the devotee, has some peace. Suppose his sons had been in a different type, disobedient, addicted to drink and other vices, then there would have been no end to his troubles. That's true. And we all understand that again and again. I received a phone call from a mother from the next neighboring state, and she said, today the police has arrested my son. So, son, this is a very good boy. I don't know why the police arrested him. No, unnecessarily police won't arrest. Something he has done. But anyway, I can't say that to mother. I always say, see, I cannot do anything else except prayer. I will pray for your son. But try to tell him not to do all those things for which the law is coming and arresting him. But he won't understand. And the problem of the mother cannot give up the son. For us, oh, it's her son, he has been arrested, we don't bother. I go on receiving almost all the monks and maybe many other, they are receiving the emails. A mother is going on writing from India, my son was a great scientist he was in ISRO, and now they have arrested him, he is in the prison, you must please help him. We do not know what has happened, so we cannot do anything except praying. Think of it, the lady is so happy when she got married. And one young lady whom I was supporting all through, And today morning she rang me and told, Swamiji, you will be very happy. The family members, they have found a suitable boy for me. Maybe I will marry him. So happy. A dream. And then afterwards children. Then afterwards this thing happened. At the fag end of the life, this is. So whole life after that, what we experience? With what Sri Ramakrishna is telling, the substance whatsoever in the worldly life, no substance. So understanding this, very seldom one comes across such a religious family. That is the lucky things. Husband and wife, both are trying to realize God, both are supporting each other, understanding each other. That is the lucky thing. So he is telling, I have seen only 2 or 3 such families. Sri Ramakrishna, in his life, he is telling, I have seen 2 or 3 such families. Even the Master Maharshaya, who is recording this book, was having trouble in the family. I prayed to the Divine Mother, O Mother, turn my mind at once from the world to God. Now this is the prayer. At once, right this moment, don't wait. Turn my mind from the world to God. What is the world? Temporary things, constantly. And what is the God? Permanent. We will come up to that. Then one gentleman, he was sitting over there, he is telling, this thing was going on in this way. Why should you say like that, sir? The scriptures, they are appreciating the life of the householders. In the scripture it is there. And it says, Jeshta Asrama, householder's life as the Jeshta Asrama. Jeshta means the highest, the best. Asrama means the condition of the life. There are 4 different conditions. One is student's life, brahmacharya. Then comes the garhastha. Third is the vanaprastha, retired life. And 4th is sannyasa, the completely dedicated to God. Now these 4 stages, 3 are depending only on one. What is that? The householder's life. The student, he needs some support from the householder. The students who are joining to our the spiritual retreat, we take only 1/4 of the charges. Where from they will get the money? So they come in that way. The young people, they will be sharing the vehicle and like that and like that. So they are depending on the support of the others. Either society is paying, government is paying, universities are paying, or the parents are paying. Then the retired people, in those days, particularly in our country till now, retired people means society have to support or someone should support. That's why the children will support the parents, like that. Here, of course, some other systems are there. And when the sannyasi who has given up everything, they're completely depending on the society. And who the society means? The householder. So the Jeshta Ashrama, that is the highest. But at the same time, this is the problem. Yes, it is true, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, it is true. But it is difficult to lead the true life of a householder. Who can be a householder? Now, constantly thinking of God, and whatever the work that the householder is doing, he is in the evening, he is giving it to God. Whatever the responsibility you gave me, oh God, I have performed. Now I give this to you. Then he goes and to the bed. Next morning he comes up. Again he is doing. Now so many different varieties of duties. The army, the military, the police, and the administration, the lawyer, the doctors, so many, even the business people. And there are so many varieties of professions, so many varieties of problems. In that, you have to go on thinking of God. It's not so easy. We are here, completely segregated. We don't go out and mix in the society. Even then we are having problem. We sometimes forget God and sometimes doubt comes whether God is there or not. Otherwise, why the problem? Suddenly in the morning we open the tap and there is no water. Think of it. Then whom to call? Immediately one devotee and this has happened, then devotee told, okay, we'll connect it. So these things are another problem. We forget about God, meditation, constantly thinking about the water supply. So this way, so there are other problems are also there. So that Sri Ramakrishna is telling, yes, it is true, but it is difficult to lead the true life of a householder. Now the time has come, 4 o'clock. Master now going to that house. And he was sitting in a carriage, though it is not very far, but he was very frail body, so he couldn't walk. So they put him in a carriage and they were all walking. And Sri Ramakrishna, the moment he entered into the carriage and he was going over there, he went into Samadhi. And that means his whole mind is now concentrating on that particular Pandit. What is that Pandit about? What he is going to tell? So all these things. So his past, his present, his future, everything he will know. He will come to that. He is telling why the people may think only one block ahead that building, and why he is not walking, why he is going by the carriage. Kishab Chandra Sen said, Master Masha is quoting, the people like Sri Ramakrishna, Jesus Christ, Sri Chaitanya belong to a delicate species of humanity, and they should be kept in glass cases, very highly protected from the vulgar contact of the world. So he could understand that they are totally different type of people, completely different. And when we think, seeing their just physical picture, oh, they are just like us, why they should not behave like us? It's not. They cannot. Pandit Shashadhar, a man of fair complexion, and had a string of Rudraksha beads around his neck. Master Masha, he draws the picture of words. And in such a nice way, as if you can visualize the person whom the Sri Ramakrishna is going to meet. He was one of the renowned Sanskrit scholars of that time, a pillar of orthodox Hinduism. Sri Ramakrishna is going, he is also Hindu, but he is going to this Pandit. Master Masha is commenting, orthodox Hinduism is the pillar. What does it mean by orthodox Hinduism? Some of the faith, some of the belief that this should continue. But the avatars, again and again, particularly in Hinduism, we find they come and they are all using only those things which should be continued because that is beneficial. Other things, they're changing, like dresses. Previously, the dress code was there, it should be like this. Food, it must be like this. Behavior, it must be like this. Language, it must be like this. And these avatars are coming and telling it's not necessary. At that time when Sri Ramakrishna is going to meet this Pandit, it was speaking in English was taboo. A holy man, Hindu, should not speak in English because it's a foreign language. And whereas Sri Ramakrishna himself, sometimes he was not knowing much of it, but sometimes to break that law, he used to say thank you. Thank you is the English word. Somebody said something, he will say thank you before everyone. And sometimes he will encourage his young disciples who are studying in Calcutta universities and the colleges to speak, to have the dialogue in English. They said, sir, you won't understand. It doesn't matter. You speak. And he is asking them to speak in English and he is enjoying, and he could understand that who is winning in the debate. What does it mean? It is not necessary. It's not, language is not the thing. Religion means purity of the mind. Blessed are those who are pure in heart, but they shall see God. Jesus is telling. It's not the language, it is not the food, it is not the dress. So Sri Ramakrishna, he came, he met the Pandit who was representing the traditional Hinduism. The Pandit saluted the master with reverence. Narendra, Rakhal, Ram, Hajra, Aim, all they who had come with the master, Sri Ramakrishna, seated themselves in the room as near as the master. So that whatever the master is telling, sometimes he used to soliloquize. So they don't like to miss those words. So these devotees, who were great followers of Sri Ramakrishna, they came and sat as close as the master. So whatever he said should be recorded, should be noted, should learn. Master again went into samadhi. After a while, still remaining in the state, he looked at the Pandit and said with a smile, "Very well, very well." He is gazing, and this is, I have seen a Swami who could read the mind. He could, and I think I told you about that. Not that all the time is to disclose, but in a special time, and at least once we were all were there, he narrated everything of a young boy who was claiming that he has made a great progress in the spiritual life. When he went and touched him, and that time he lost his eyesight. Only when the boy touched him, immediately he started telling everything about him. And that young man, he was trembling. And no, like that he was going on telling. We never could feel, because apparently he was so devoted and so dedicated. Early morning he will get up, he will sit for meditation, and for a long period of time he will be meditating. We could never feel that these are the things that they are inside. But these holy men, they could feel immediately. He said like that. Bireshwaranandaji Maharaj also did. And think of Sri Ramakrishna. Swami Vivekananda, he was here, and then he told about all these things, particularly in France, the Madame Calvé. She was an opera singer, very famous in those days. When the Madame Calvé came, Swami Vivekananda didn't see her. She was coming inside the room from a door, and Swamiji was sitting exactly keeping the back towards the door. The moment she stepped in, Swamiji started telling, "Oh my God, a tempest, what you have brought with you." And he went on telling, think of it. And after that young boy who touched the Swami and got all those, we stopped touching him. So we do not know what will come out. It's better to from distance. And like this, of course, we are very young. So this way, it is possible. And Sri Ramakrishna, you can understand the tremendous spiritual power he felt and said, "Very well." Then addressing the Pandit, the master said, "Tell me how you give lectures." He was very famous Sanskrit Pandit and giving lectures about Hinduism. And he was thinking that Hinduism is getting destroyed, so he must try to help them, help the Hindus. "Sir, I try to explain the teachings of the Hindu scriptures." Then the master said, "For the Kali Yuga, the path of devotion described by Narada is the best." For the Kali Yuga means the present age. The total creation is now having the 4 time zone, and one is the Kali Yuga, the last now. And the mind of the people will be very low. They will be all the time thinking about the worldly things, and even by cheating others and creating problem, egoistic people, all those things now we can see. But even then, the spirituality is rising. Why? The God has come. He has given the boost up. And slowly people's mind are opening up. And whatever, maybe the very few, but still they are understanding it, trying to. So from that, slowly it is moving. Sri Ramakrishna said, for them, it's not the Jnana Marga, but is a mixture of jnana and bhakti, and it says Narada is the best. Devotion described by Narada. What the Narada said about the devotion? And he said, Satu Ashmi Parama Prema Rupa. Sa, he never said he or she. Narada is not, he is describing the devotion. And devotion must be about a God. But Narada is not giving any idea about the God. Narada said, Sa, that, Tu Ashmin Parama Prema Rupa is completely nothing but the love, pure love. The form is pure love. And what is pure love? Love without expecting anything. How that is possible? When you are completely unselfish. You don't have anything at the back of your mind. I will love, I will show the concern, or I will do this and that. In exchange, in return, I want this. No, that is not love. When it is completely different, I love God because I love God. Love for love's sake. And that he is telling Parama Prema Rupa. Ashmin, not the God, but the godliness. The good qualities of the God. And what is God? Swami Vivekananda said, unselfishness is God. The love is God. The love and unselfishness, as long as the devotee has eye sense, God is having a form. But as in the samadhi, you and I, it become one, that's called Parama Prema Rupa. Apparently, as if this is a devotional book, but no, it's a pure knowledge. And knowledge means when you become one with God, that is the prema. And there is no difference. I and you, that conception, as long as it's there, it is not prema. The love, L-O-V-E that we say, and sometimes we say, translate it as a different way. But when in Sanskrit it says the prema, means this is oneness. It's not two. Not even the child, the baby and the mother, they are two now. They are not one. But when the God and the devotee become one, there is no two. And when there is no two, what is that? Pure knowledge. Except the God, there is nothing. And that's why I am quoting one, Al-Hallaj Sufi. Is one branch of the Islam, the Sufi. He realized the truth. And then he said, I am truth. Whom I love is also truth. He and me are one. See that in Islam. He and me are one. Whom I love is also truth. I am also truth. And we both are the same. Now, it reminds us the great quoting of the Jesus. I and my Father in heaven are one. Oh, my Father is there, I am here, I am the Son of the Father in many places. But once he is telling, we are one. How does it mean by one? There is no conception of two. Then the Father and the Son, that conception also vanishes. What remains? That remains. And in Veda, long back it says, Aham Brahmasmi, I am that. And that is called Parama Prema Rupa. That Sri Ramakrishna is telling, through the love you can reach over there. Through devotion you can reach over there. And the devotion, when you are practicing, you have the idea, I am going to be one. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna in his own life, he was worshipping the image of Kali. And we know, those who have read the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, one point of time when he used to worship, he will be worshipping himself instead of the image. And he was putting out the garland which was meant for that particular image. And in Hinduism we cannot think of. Here it is written, don't cross. Don't go inside, because sanctum sanctorium, it is very pure. So that way we are constantly thinking God is separate, I am separate. But when that separation merges one, nowadays I am doing the puja. You know what is this puja? In the whole book, it takes 1 hour to perform the puja, daily worship. But 50 minutes only, think yourself that you are the God whom you are going to worship. That's all. Every time the pujari will be doing like this. After sitting, he will do like this. And why he is doing? Sarvadeva Devi Sarupaya Ramakrishna Bhushat. Like that he is doing. From here up to the toe. Can you imagine? We don't allow the shoe also to enter over here. But you are thinking, just like the God, your feet and your head all being as nothing but God. Then they will take one flower and keep on the head, and they will be thinking that I am worshipping God. And what is that God? Myself is within the heart, and worshipping with the nectar. And then Daya Pushpam, Shama Pushpam. What are the flowers? Today one of our volunteers brought a lot of flowers, and that they will be decorating. But actual flowers is the kindness, is the love, is the purity, is the sympathy, is the service. All these are flowers. With that you are worshipping. That is true worship. And that's why sa, tu, and here in the Sanskrit, tu means with determination. It is. What is that? That God, prema rupa, and not only prema, parama. In Sanskrit, parama means the highest. Beyond that, nothing is there. What is that prema? Oneness. One with what? That which is consciousness. That whom you call God, Father, Mother, Jehovah, Buddha, whatever you may say. So that is what he said, Parama Prema Rupa. Gopis in the Vrindavan, they used to feel that they are Krishna. And for that, the descriptions are there. The gopis used to feel Krishna, and they used to say, why you are not worshipping me? I am the Krishna. It's not the ego, but the complete realization, the oneness of God. One person came to Ma Sharada Muni Devi to take the initiation. He was the disciple afterwards. He got the sannyasa from Swami Vivekananda. Birojananda, afterwards he became the president of the Ramakrishna mission. He was a realized soul. And the young boy, he came to Ma Sharada Muni and he was telling, oh, Mother, I have come now to you. If I could come a few years before, I could see Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna passed away in 1886. I could see Sri Ramakrishna. Then the mother told, you have seen him. No, I am telling Sri Ramakrishna, not the picture. Sri Ramakrishna in person. The boy was thinking mother is indicating about the picture, photo of Sri Ramakrishna. No. I am not talking about that. I was thinking if I could come little earlier, a few years before, I could see Sri Ramakrishna in person. He was excited. Then the mother told, you have seen him. You are seeing him. Then she said, lastly, you are seeing him. Not only that you have seen him, I and the Sri Ramakrishna are one. Mother and Sri Ramakrishna is not different. One Swami Vivekananda's disciple, and he is a very famous man, he was a highly educated person, and he was from East Bengal. He used to come and do. And one day he said, I want to wash your feet. You know, in devotion, the devotees, they usually like to wash the feet of the Guru and worship. Swamiji told, But when you will do that and where? Because the Baburam Maharaj don't like all this and he will be angry. No, no, secretly I will do. And he brought one plate and good luck or bad luck, he brought the plate from Thakur Ghar, from that shrine. That particular vessel, the plate was used for Thakur Puja. Now he brought that, not knowing the importance of that. Sri Ramakrishna, Swamiji told, my God, that is used for Thakur and you have brought it? Anyway, do quickly, before Baburam comes. Baburam Maharaj was in charge, the manager. And when almost finished, Baburam Maharaj entered the room. And Swamiji immediately said, I didn't do anything. I was telling him that this plate is usually used by Thakur's puja. And this fellow, he was insisting what to do. Now see, look at this fool. He has worshipped me and keeping my feet on that, washing the feet. But what I will do? You know what was the Baburam Maharaj say? He has done the right thing. You and Sri Ramakrishna are not different. Can you imagine? Parama Prema Rupa. This is the Sri Ramakrishna and Swamiji are not different. Ma Sri Ramakrishna are not different. Ma Kali and Sri Ramakrishna are not different. Parama Prema Rupa. We always think, most of the people, Indian people, they will come and say, why there is no Kali temple, Kali shrine? Because Sri Ramakrishna used to worship Kali. No. And we have a Kali picture down in the basement, big one. I will go over there, we have kept that. It is there. But Sri Ramakrishna himself, Parama Prema Rupa, Amrita Rupa Acha, he is also Amrita. What will happen if we become one with God? It becomes a great, great joy. Amrit, as if the nectar you have drunk and you are full with that, no desire. So in the third verse of the Naradiya Bhakti Sutra, it says, Amrita Sarupa Cha. It is the form, it is the identical with the conception of that ambrosia that we find, Amrit. Yam labda puman shiddho bhavati, amrito bhavati, dripto bhavati. After realizing that, there remains nothing. Now, if we go to the pure knowledge, what it says, the Brahmavid, Brahmaiva bhavati. And what happens? How we will know that he is a Brahman? No desire at all. And when you go through the path of devotion, when you reach to God, when you become one with God, what happened? Tripto bhavati. Completely satisfied. To whom Sri Ramakrishna is telling it? Telling a person who is a Nayayik. Nayayik, if you try to read, you are all intelligent people, but you will understand that, oh my God, so difficult to understand. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a great scholar of Nyaya. This Nyaya, Tarka Shastra. And he was telling him why? Because unnecessarily, just by debating, this is this, this is that, don't waste time. Don't waste time. Master Masha, when he was giving the description of the person, he said, he is now crossed that young age. That means he is a middle-aged person. And we do not know, in those days the lifespan was very short. So he was telling in that way. Your lectures are not helping worldly people very much. Sri Ramakrishna was very clear. Your lectures are not helping people very much. And you will realize this by and by. Sri Ramakrishna is asking again and again, first you realize, then you speak. You cannot distinguish a lover of God from a worldly person. It isn't your fault, of course. Lover of God and the worldly person. And both apparently, outwardly almost the same people. No, the lover of gods are totally different type. When the first onrush of the gale shakes the trees, it is impossible to distinguish one tree from another, the mango from the tamarind, for instance. The tamarind tree and the mango tree. Mango tree's leaves are a little bigger than the tamarind tree. Tamarind tree is a very small leaves. But when the strong wind is there, all the trees are moving so fast, you cannot understand which tree is what. Similarly, when that type of emotion comes, he goes on giving, lecturing here, there, everywhere, not understanding what actually he is doing. So this is the thing. We have seen some great personalities. Swami Gambhiranandaji is a great scholar. But about the speaking and all that, when you give the microphone, because he was the vice president, that was the thing must he have to do. So he'll be going and sitting, then his assistant will come and say, his secretary, Maharaj, now it is your time to speak. Then he will see the microphone and he will test that microphone and he will start without addressing. Usually we say friends, devotees, we will say, Ramakrishna said, in the scripture it is this. And if you say 25 minutes, exactly 25 minutes, you'll stop. Conclude. And that was the control. He knew what to say and when to say and how to say. That much. But you cannot say that he is a great speaker, profound speaker, but a realized soul. Swami, our Bireshwaranandaji Maharaj, he was a realized soul, very high and direct disciple of Mother. But he was a very small, short the stature and very simple type. He used to walk very fast. Most of the people used to think that he is Shevak, another Swami, very good looking, fair complex, with good dress and all, he used to go behind. They will all come to him, not knowing that this is the president. The president is very simple, and he will say, not me, it is he, go and touch his feet. And Maharaj will say, no, it's good, go to him. He will have fun like that. And all the assistants of the Swami were very tall, very good looking, very fair complex, and he was very short. People mostly used to make mistake. But there's a great scholar and at the same time realized soul. And how to understand that? This is one young lady, she has written to me, I have heard your lecture, it was very good, but can you please tell me how to distinguish a good person and a bad person? It's very difficult. Who is a good monk and who is not? All monks are looking almost all same. How to understand who is good and who is not? Then I quoted from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What to say? I told that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, whenever you approach a person, go near to him, if you feel that you have the feeling of God, that is a spiritual person because he has realized the God. When you go near him, you feel like that. When you are leaving him, you feel like coming back once again. That is a spiritual person. And that is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling. My child, Sri Ramakrishna is now addressing that great Pandit. When he was going, he was very much what the Pandit will be. Now he is addressing him as my child, add a little more to your strength. He is a scholar. Now the realization is necessary. Spiritual practice is necessary. Bhag Baikari Shabdo Jari Shastra Vyakhyan Kaushalam. In the Vivek Chudamani, Shankaracharya is telling, some people can utilize the words in such a way, they can put the words in such a way that other people, they get mesmerized. completely, as Swami Vivekananda could do that, completely transform them. But he used to control himself. Otherwise, they will lose their all personalities that way. And also many of the people nowadays in the modern society, they know. But not the Vivekananda, I am mentioning about some people who are not practicing spirituality, only utilizing some of the words and trying to tell people, I am a leader, spiritual leader. My child, add a little more to your strength. Practice spiritual discipline a few days more. What is the spiritual practices? In the Bhagavad Gita, it is so nicely it is given. Bhak Shanyam is a practice, spiritual practice that we do, that not only that, controlling the food, not only that, just in the physically, very austerity we are practicing, but also never ever telling any harsh words to any person. And never ever accepting anything negative, all the time positive, whoever comes. Every time, whatever the good things are there, accept that. It's all spiritual practices. When what happens? A mental transformation. Not that the physically will transform, but your mentality will transform completely. What will happen then? Majority of the time is direct experience and inference. Those who have realized directly, they can understand that. But otherwise, we can infer by telling or seeing, studying people like this. What do you find? The common thing? Love and unselfishness. No discrimination that these people belong to my caste, my language, my culture, my country. No border. No differences. Caste, color, sex, nothing. Everything is same. So that is my child, add a little more to your strength. Practice spiritual discipline a few more days. You have hardly set your foot on the tree. Yet you expect to lay hold a big cluster of fruit. But of course, you are doing all this for the welfare of others. Then he is as if giving some, he should not feel bad. You are trying to do good for others, it's good, but try to do first yourself. Spiritual practice. When I first heard about you, I inquired whether you were merely erudite or whether you have discrimination and renunciation. A Pandit who doesn't know how to discriminate between real and unreal is no Pandit at all. Pandit means the one who has known the Panda. You know, the Sanskrit Panda means the Brahman. Panda is it breaks, upper Brahmsha. And it is a Pandit. From that, Panda. And those who are there in our holy places, they guide people. They are called Pandas. But actually, truly, they are Pandit. And Pandit means those who have realized the Self, the Brahman, the God. And you can imagine how good those people will be. So, Sri Ramakrishna is guiding him. And through him, he is telling us to be more sincere and practicing spirituality. Thank you, friends. Let us chant from this and conclude. Niranjanam Nityam Anantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhrita Vikraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.